had this guy do a career highlight tape. And I've thrown lobs at Dwight. I've thrown pocket passes to Paul Gasol.
So cool.
I forgot this clip, but Kobe was on the left block. I was with Golden State as a rookie. He spent baseline, and I blocked his shit.
Did you really?
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
I forgot about that, but yeah, like it's
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was, and just right now, I'm just literally in a space of gratitude for what the game has done to me, and just like Steph passes that joy to people, I do the same.
3 in the paint, 3 in the paint, 3 in the paint. 3 in the paint, 3 in the paint, 3 in the paint. 3 in the paint, 3 in the paint, 3 in the paint. Better watch how you play, boy, there's 3 up in the paint.
Welcome to the 3 in the Paint podcast. I'm your host, as always, Jeremiah Solomon, along with Leo Biaz and Mark Haynes. As always, thank you for joining us. Hit that subscribe button, like the video. We always appreciate that. Today, we got a special episode.
Special.
Really excited about this one. We have NBA vet, some may say legend at Old Dominion, played seasons with Golden State, Atlanta, a little bit of time with Sacramento, and a little bit with the Lakers as well as some time in Portland. We have Kent Bazemore joining us today on the pod. Thank you, Kent, for being here.
Bro.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for having me, guys. Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. This is going to be a great episode.
No question.
Great episode. I'm excited to get into it. But first of all, how we all doing? How y'all doing?
We're good. We gonna skip. We gonna cut to the chase.
All right, you can just cut to the chase.
Baze, man, we told this guy that you was coming on the show.
Yeah.
I told him you was inviting us to the hoop session.
Yeah.
Immediately, he said, "Oh, I'm about to bust his ass."
Yeah.
Immediately.
Crazy.
Which didn't happen.
No.
One, because he didn't guard me.
I have footage
To
of
be
him
fair.
blowing by you. I have footage
To
of
be
him
fair.
blowing by you, to be fair. So
Then this was the bet they had.
Yeah.
He was like, he said he'll score a bucket on you, and I was like, if he lets you.
Yeah.
Am I right or is he wrong?
you saw
I'm a very humble guy.
No, cooking, Kent. Cooking. I've been
got-
cooking him all week. Cooking.
Yeah, I hung my head on defense, so if I'm locked in on that end, I don't really think so, bro. I'll just be honest.
I humbly respect that, but I disagree with this.
You should.
In a very humble way.
You should.
If I don't believe in myself, nobody will.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
I can't fault you for that, but you said you scored 3 buckets out of 10.
Well, he actually never guarded me.
All right.
3 out of 10 is crazy.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Especially if I know you're trying to go.
That's what I said.
Well, and then at the end of the hoop session, we're like, oh, we got to get a one-on-one with Leo and Kemp. Everyone was gassed. It was the end of the night. But I was like, man, there's no way. There's no way
Not a
that's happening.
chance.
But
Not a chance.
that was a great time.
I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never know.
Kanye West.
A little bit Kanye. Yeah. But so I want to start like with kind of just like a question I think all people that watch basketball and specific players have questions about. I'm curious what year you think was your best season so far. I was looking like last night, I was kind of going through your seasons and stuff like that. I have an idea of what I think from like a spectator, what your best season was so far. So far, what season do you think was like, yeah, that was like the season I was locked in, I was cooking people. That was like my best season.
I mean, it was definitely during my stint in Atlanta, and for many reasons. I think one thing people overlook in this game nowadays is stability, right? Like I was there for 5 seasons, and after 2 seasons, I signed a pretty big deal. So I felt centered. I knew who I was. I knew who my teammates were. I knew where my trainer, between the trainer, the grocery store, where I would play golf. I knew I had all these things kind of set in stone, routine, all this stuff, and real comfortable. So, anybody that came to Atlanta, I'm in the starting lineup, you hear your name, in the loudspeakers, you get the love. So, I was going at a lot of dudes. So, I would definitely say, it was a stint there between probably my first year there, we went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I was able to start in the Eastern Conference Finals that year, actually. And then from there, it was just this is my opportunity to step into the player that I know I can be, and I went toe to toe with the best of them.
Yeah, I mean, I
Right.
was going back through the tape, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
you were cooking, man.
Yeah.
For you were cooking some guys. Because I was looking at like the 2017, 2018 season. I was like, yeah. Like that to me, like from the outside, I'm like, man, he seemed like locked in that year.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, and then so 18, 19 would have been Trey's rookie year, right? Yeah, so yeah, I would say because I was ready to take that step. You know, it was my 7th year in the league, so I was ready to take that step as a leader, you know, as a face of a franchise, just in terms of, just like I say, climbing the ranks, going undrafted, you know, being patient, actually working up to earning that right. You know, being one of the only starters to return from a 60-win team and all that success. So I was really looking forward to stepping into that role come Trey's rookie year, to kind of lead that franchise in the right direction. But, you know, I think that's kind of when the shift started to this youth movement of, you know, giving those guys the keys already. And this, I mean, it's all good. It's not out of resentment or anything. Like, I'm at peace with my career. I had I did my thing. Like at the end of the day, play a decade coming from where I come from. I mean, a lot of people. Not a lot of people get that opportunity. So definitely blessed.
And you mentioned going undrafted. At what point for you did it become a reality that you can be in the NBA?
Man, it was. I mean, I've always had the dream of playing in the league. You know, just watching it growing up as a kid. Obviously, Kobe's a huge inspiration. Just being on the East Coast, staying up to 1 o'clock at night, watching him finish games. He really gave me a ton of inspiration as to, you know, just chasing the dream. And for me, I never really knew that I had a chance. Like, I wasn't ranked on any, you know, big publications. Like, I had a great face on the statewide ranking. So I think Dave Tellep did it, maybe Prep All Stars or something back in the day. So I mean, it was a far shot. And then my junior season, my redshirt junior year, we went to the NCAA tournament. I played really good against Baylor in the second round. We ended up losing, but that's when I kind of found out I had a chance. And then I broke my foot going into my senior season, so I fell right back off. So I mean, it was always kind of a reach or a stretch, but you know, I felt like as long as I got the opportunities, every time I stepped on the floor, it was an opportunity to win a game or just you know, play your heart out, and that's just the mentality I had. And you know, once I got my foot in the door, OKC Summer League, Golden State Summer League in Vegas, like I just didn't look back.
With breaking your foot, what was that recovery like, and who helped you? Right?
Yeah.
Was there anything, you know, spiritual where it got you through? Just talk about those moments.
That's another part to that story that's I don't think I really talked about it much. But so this is July 24th. I'm playing in the Pro-Am in Norfolk, Virginia. And mind you, this summer I'm blacking out my training. Like, I came in with it was 4 of us as freshmen. 3 of them had graduated. I was the only returning starter going into my senior year. So, dude, I'm in the weight room. I'm in the gym twice a day. You know, we playing ball at night. I'm conditioning. You know, my body's just, I'm just in like this peak space, like just getting ready to carry this load. And July 24th, I got a friend in town. We go out, and long story short, I get DUI July 24th. And then 7 days later, I break my foot. So that's like, I mean, now in hindsight, it's like, you know, simmer down, you know, pace yourself. Because I was ready to go. I was ready to go, and like I felt like, all right, this is the time. And then that happened, and Jason Mitchell, who's the athletic trainer at Old Dominion, my coach Blaine Taylor, you know, we all sat down and we were like, look, we got 3 months to recover. And that cleared me the day before our first exhibition game going into my senior year. So I didn't even have time to like get it. I was just back on the court in and like I said, just taking it a day at a time. Like, and that's, you know, the DUI wasn't. I feel like it was like a blessing in disguise because it wasn't. You know, I wasn't like belligerent.
Right.
I just had somebody with me that was, you know, all out of sorts. So, yeah, it was a blessing in disguise. I had a really good conversation with the officer on the way down to the station and everything. It was crazy. And I mean, that's how I knew like I was, you know, it was something good to come from it. And
Right.
I think one thing it taught me was patience and pacing myself. Because like I said, dude, I was in it. Like, you know, what people consider the Mamba mentality, where you just push your body into the freaking ground. Such a misconception behind all of that. But yeah, I just, you know, just took it one day at a time, attacked my, I was in summer school as well. So it's August in Virginia. It's hot as hell. And I got crutches. I'm sweating, trying to get to class. Like we had to move out of our dorms. Like it was so much going on. But I made it through, and I attacked those rehab sessions on the arm bike, you know, from conditioning, just like I would a game. So
Was that perspective the same when it happened, or is that you looking back at it?
when it happened, I mean, now, knowing what I know now, I was just numb. You know, I was just numb to it. Like it's, you know, I was in this place of, you know, I got to get it regardless. You know, I'm not going to let anything stop me. And that's kind of the mentality that you have as a young kid, you know, given the background that I come from. Like, you know, we scratching and clawing, you know, regardless, you know, whatever hand we're dealt, we making the best of it, you know, no excuses. And I just stayed focused. Like I knew I was at school to get my degrees, and I knew I was there to play basketball. And, you know, I did whatever I needed to do in those spaces to ensure that I, you know, kept putting one foot in front of the other.
Do you? I'm curious your perspective on this. Obviously, your path to the NBA wasn't like the typical modern path to the NBA, right? Like most guys getting drafted, but you know, like teams like the Heat recently have had a lot of undrafted guys, things like that. Do you think the league should be evaluating the way that it signs younger players? Do you think there's a lot of talent out there that's not being drafted, that these teams are just they're not putting the resources into scouting the guys or whatever? Do you think there's a lot of talent out there that's being missed from undrafted guys that just don't get the shot that some of these draftees got?
I think there's a disconnect with the type of person that's allowed in these spaces. I think someone that goes to school, you know, for 2, 3, or 4 years, that went to class, you know, took school seriously, you know, that's just going to be a great kid. That's a kid that you want in your organization. That's a kid that's going to stay out of trouble. That's a kid that's going to, even if he's not playing, he's going to be able to see, you know, the brighter side to it. You know, there's a molding and a culturing to a player that is seasoned in the NBA, you know, I mean, the NCAA, and it just goes back to the NCAA. Like, I love the NCAA. I was in that system for 5 years. Back then, you had to have a certain GPA to play. You know, you had to keep all that stuff up. We had people that would come check in your classrooms as a freshman, and you had study hall. And like, if they felt like they could trust you in these spaces, then you got your leeway. But now it's just, you know, it's social media craze, and you know, now kids are anointed so early, and they stay in those. If you're anointed at 15 and 16, I feel like mentally that's where you stay. That's when you find out who you are. And as you get older, you know, and you, like I said, if you're 19 years old, you play, you know, 6 years in the league, which is above league average. I mean, which is above the average lifespan in NBA. You're still 25. So what are you going to fall back on at that point, right? Like, I went to school for 5 seasons. I got 2 degrees. I was also teammates with Harrison Barnes, you know.
Great guy, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Draymond went to school for 4 years. Festus Ezeli, and those guys were, you know, great locker room guys. Like, they just
real pros.
Yeah, exactly. They uplift your organization. So I mean, I think it's when you go evaluate a kid, you need to look at, and you see more coaches talking about this now. You need to go look at how he responds to his teammates. My college coach came and saw us, and we got absolutely smoked the first night he came to watch us play. But one thing he told me is like, your effort didn't change. You were still encouraging your teammates. Like, those are the things that go into building a winning organization versus a kid that can, get the ball and just
go.
Yeah. That's not gonna long term. They may have spurts, but that's not something that's gonna lead to the longevity of your franchise. Long term. If you're gonna pay this kid $200 million, like, he needs to, understand financial literacy. It's all these things. It's like all these things that are just kind of out of whack right now.
Do you think with the new NIL stuff and all that, that's obviously it's cool. You want to see people get paid, but
Right.
is it going to impact? Do you think it could potentially impact the NBA negatively?
I mean, it's only just going to lead to the misconception of like success, right? Like, it's a lifelong journey, and I think when you give kids this money up front, it's not just about them getting money. It's about, there's certain boundaries you got to create as a human with yourself and your family. You know what I mean? Like, you got to learn how to say no. Like, you got to pay taxes on it. Their kids is getting this money, don't even know they got to pay taxes on it.
Nah,
And maybe, IRS, they're like, all right, this kid's 18, but, they may come at you 10 years from now, like, hey, bro, you've been missing out. But,
That's
like,
real.
it's a responsibility to have this kind of money. It's a lot of responsibility that comes for it. And I think at, 17, 18, 19, 20, like, you just need to be focused on being a kid growing into a young adult. Like, really appreciate college, because even when I was coming up, people were like, this is the best. These are the best. The college is the best time of your life.
Right.
There's no real responsibility. Like, you just go to class and you go to practice, and like, you get to have fun. Like, I did a little bit of Greek life. Shout out Pi Kappa Alpha. I did a little bit of Greek life. So, like, I was able to just, find out find out who I am, grow in so many different spaces. But, it's a process and a pace to it all that I think would just let these kids, pan out for a lot longer.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you, Kent. We've talked a little bit off camera, kind of about how you value growing the game and being a part of growing the game locally and things like that. Do you think that's something the league should take a more like grassroots approach on, or do you think it's really on the players, vets like yourself, to do that in their local communities? Obviously, you picked the Sacramento area here to live for the last few years, but is that on the players to do, or do you think the league needs to be a little more proactive in helping with that?
I feel like the league has their hands full. I think guys that play can help with that, and it's not necessarily. I mean, if you still love to play the game, like, that's a way to do it too. That's how I'm still doing it. Like, I'm still in my routine. Even when I go play, some nights, I still do my activation. I still do my prep work, and I get after it, and that's a way to grow it too. Just leading by example. I mean, I don't think it's something that you have to like consciously put an effort to. It's something that's natural. I feel like as you leave as you leave the professional ranks, you move into this mentorship role anyways, and you just share your experiences through the way that you play, through the way that you interact with another teammate. If you see, I always ask players, like, who do you like watching? Who's your favorite player? And if I play with them, I kind of, hey, if such and such had the ball here, this is kind of what he was looking at, and you can see a light bulb go off for him, and they'll come back like, yeah, I was on YouTube watching this, and then you just create dialogue, and that alone is something that is moves the needle in terms of just getting the game in a more cerebral space.
And Baze, you've talked about, you've played with everybody. You played with everybody. You played against, some of the greatest people to ever touch basketball, from Steph to LeBron to Kobe. But Kobe was an inspiration. And all right, I'm going to get a little controversial or whatever, but I felt like, I guess I'll say what I feel first.
Yeah.
But I felt like Jordan, right? I feel like Michael Jordan didn't necessarily do that. I feel like he didn't pass the game along to, obviously him and Kobe had, a good relationship, but Bron and just other guys.
Right.
But I felt like Kobe was a guy who was like, I'm going to give back, to whoever,
Right.
Wants it. First off, did you see that? Is that an accurate difference between Kobe and Jordan?
Well, I say this: Jordan was so competitive, and this is something that like I caught myself doing too. Like, if you're still competing, you're not really trying to give the answers to the opponents, right?
Right.
And I feel like Kobe was, I would say, humble enough to go to Mike and ask for guidance. Like, that just shows, what Kobe's maturity was. Like, and I mean, Kobe was the same too. Like, I mean, if you got your practice, like, it's your practice. Like, you ain't really see these guys posting, I mean, obviously social media went crazy back then, but I still feel like Kobe and Jordan would be two of the guys that really didn't post much of what they were doing. They probably wouldn't really talk about much what they were doing, only in private maybe because, it was their stuff. They went out and they seek that knowledge and wisdom,
right?
And they learned it for themselves. And that's just the accountability that they hold to everybody else around them, especially at the highest level. You're not going to see, if Kobe trying to win championships, he ain't going to be having dinner with these dudes, like, you know what I mean, pouring all the answers out. Like, nah, like, it's just it's if you find that wisdom and knowledge and, you're mature enough to strike a conversation with one of those men and, be in a space to receive, and that's when I think they would be open to it. But, a lot of kids don't seek it. They just, they know it already in their mind, and you just keep kicking their ass.
And who was that? Like, I'm glad you brought that up about, like, meeting for dinner. Was it somebody, it was like during the playoff, and they went and met with or asked Ty Lue, could they, was it Lowry? Was it
Lowry for what?
It was a playoff series between he had to be with Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. In Toronto, maybe? Was it back then?
I think it might have. It had do Kyle and Ty. Y'all don't remember that? Ah, man, I wish because it was somebody. Ty Lue came out and was like, I told him like, nah, we can't.
It's like, there's a time and a place for that. Like,
right.
When you're in between the lines, it's all about competing. Like, we're not buddies. We not. I mean, we are, but there's a level of competitiveness that I'm gonna bring to you. That's why when I played with Golden State back in 2020, I love going to practice because I'm guarding Steph and like, we at it. We at each other. He cooking me. I'm locking up. Like, we going at it. Like, it's just. I think it's a much more healthier relationship in that realm if you can, do both. Like, if I knock you down, like in practice, I might help you up, but I'm gonna help you up because you're my guy too. Like it's a good balance and a healthy competition to push the guys that you're up against.
Yep.
So I don't know if I want to go this deep or controversial about leadership at the NBA level. Really, leadership in life, right?
What the Kings do? Well, they did something. They did something
related to the Kings. I'm usually not usually. I'm pretty much a very optimistic person. And the game against the Lakers, it was Doug's first game as interim head coach, and I just literally lost my shit, and I kind of went off. And I went off because a lot of the concerns that I had about De'Aaron and really De'Aaron, but about Sabonis too from a leadership perspective. Because at the end of the day, like, people will point to the best player as the leader,
right?
Or they'll associate that in some way, shape, or form,
right?
They played really bad in terms of and you were great at this. You would always give it your all. energy level, like effort. And there was really no effort there. And it was usually when you have a new coach, there's this instant juice. Just it's like this honeymoon phase. Right. And there was no juice that night.
Right.
And I just went off. I'm like, Dad, this team has zero leadership. And, fair or unfair, that's the way they've been playing all year. Because if you look on paper, like, they're really talented. And obviously, it might stem from an organism from the top, right? Like any business, if your leadership isn't great, it's going to bottle down to everybody else, right? Yeah. Everything starts at the top. So from your perspective, playing this game for so long, do you think there's certain players who are true leaders, like a Draymond, and then you see other teams that just have like that? Again, I don't want to get so controversial. Have that soft mentality of like not wanting that responsibility. I guess
it's like your favorite word,
like
soft.
Yeah, like not wanting that responsibility of wanting to take that leadership role,
right.
But wanting like that fame and like that money. See what I'm saying? Like, see where I'm going with that? Is that a real thing? Because when I see Memphis play, without 6 guys, they play the same way. And that's a cultural thing. Why is it that the Kings at full strength sometimes will show effort and sometimes won't? Like, where does that come from?
Different team at times.
You got to look at the overall energy around the organization. I mean, I don't think them letting Mike Brown go when they did helps things at all. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on Doug Christie to come in, and that's a drain. That's draining, man. Like, I mean, if y'all had all the success, you build a relationship, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh well, your coach is gone. Like, it'll take a lot out of you. And I'm sure with D Fox, like, I mean, he loves the game. He plays hard. He just got a lot on him. That's a lot being thrown at you in the middle of the season, and especially with things. I think they're 12th they're 12th right now, something like that. So I mean, it's already off to a slow start. And I think where teams get themselves in trouble is every team comes into the season with like all these high ass hopes. Like everybody has this championship mentality. It's just like this hoorah BS. But what's happening now, like, I don't think teams are really taking the time to understand that this is an 82-game season, and you got to build. Like, I mean, I come into the season with the mentality of building. You can do all the training and conditioning you want in the summer, but you can't really simulate, games, practices, travel, all those things. So you're building. So if we start our first 5 games at home, all right, let's be realistic. Who we got? All right, if we come out over 500, it's a good start to the season, right? Like, I mean, if we get 4-1, boom. If we 5-0, watch out. Like, you look at Cleveland this year, you look at Boston this year. You look at, those are the teams that they came in with the mindset of getting off to a good start. They did. They had a little lull. I saw Joe Mazzulla talking the other night, like. Effort and stuff that you talk about, it doesn't. A lot of teams like to tie it to making shots. Boston was number 1 in the league for a minute, making threes, and now they're 28th, but their defense has risen. That goes back to your leadership. What guy or guy in the locker room can say, hey guys, we're not making shots right now, and we got to understand that what we were doing isn't sustainable. So let's evolve as a team and find another way to give ourselves a chance to win every night. And that's what they do. That's why they're one of the few teams that I can watch, right now in the NBA, because, regardless of how they're playing, they're going to put out a good product. They're going to play together. You'll see a guy that maybe 7th, 8th man into the bench have a good night because, there are other guys are being scouted well, or, Tatum's a little tired, or, Jalen a little tired, like that. All that stuff. You have to have a guy that in the locker room that can zoom out and understand that and be a beacon for your team. That's leadership, and not being afraid, owning up to who you are first, the self-accountability, leading yourself first, and then, leading the men around you. Because at the end of the day, in the league, and this is one of the first things I heard when I got in the league, if we all win, everybody wins. If you win games, like, everybody gets paid. Like, you make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or Western Conference Finals, and then you got their 7th man on the bench. He may leave for like a $30-40 million deal, just because he got that exposure. And that's And that's what's gone too, is uplifting the man next to you. If I don't have it going tonight, I miss, my first couple shots, and I'm still giving it somewhere else, and you come in and you spark plugging it, like, I'm gonna root for you. I ain't gonna be hating. I ain't waiting for you to miss shots so I can get back in. Like, I'm trying to win this game. We trying to win these games, stack these W's.
There's been a question I've been dying to ask you, man, and I'm sure you've heard jokes. I'm sure you've seen messages and DMs or whatever. Played with the Golden State Warriors in 2021. Was that 2021?
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
Very next season, you go to the Los Angeles Lakers. And reportedly, they said that the Warriors offered you more in, was it, 2-year deal or something like that?
Yeah,
and more.
Man.
But you wanted the opportunity to win a chip.
Championship.
And you went to the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James, and it didn't work out. Is there any regret and any blame on why you didn't have an NBA championship right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm in the space to answer this truthfully too. Like, my decision to go to the Lakers and what was put out publicly didn't come from me. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my ties with Kobe Bryant, played a huge part there. Like, you get a call from, the GM of the Lakers, and they like, hey, the 2 spots open. Like, we want to see you in it. And it's like, with the roster that they were putting together, I mean, that roster, bro, we had Rondo, we had Russ.
Yep.
I mean, media day, I'm looking at Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan, and Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking as a defender, defensively, just getting into the ball, funneling everything to the rim. I'm just looking at my chops. You look at the wings. We had Wayne Ellington, Brian, obviously, and even somebody like Melo on the squad. Like,
That's right.
We when it comes to experience and all those things, like, I felt like it was a no-brainer. The thing with Golden State, it was a weird year prior because I had an amazing training camp, and right before the season started, I was told that, I'm not going to play the first 3 games of the year. We're going to go with our young guys. And then I had to wait, all year to go through the Oubre experiment. And before, I was finally putting the starting lineup with, a group that I, knew, and a lot of chemistry there. So it was a lot. My agent at the time didn't really feel like Golden State was being as proactive as they should have been.
Right.
The Lakers was blowing us up. Like, I mean, we get calls like every half an hour. Like, you want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this. So I went there, like I said, in efforts to win the championship. We started the season off pretty shitty. Golden State is like 18-0.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about, like, damn. And then, like, 14 games into the season with the Lakers, like, I'm out of the lineup, like, completely. I didn't get the COVID vaccine. So I was in contact tracing 3 different times. That's 10 days apiece. They were bringing in 10-day guys that play in front of me.
Yeah.
Stanley Johnson, Darren Collison came in. They signed Avery Bradley.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it's like it was a lot being piled on. Like, it was so much stuff going on in my personal life too. But I don't really have any regrets because I went there to, walk in, Kobe's shoes, like the 2 guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. A lot of responsibility that comes with that. And it taught me a lot. Like, I still, even though I was out of routine, I still did my routine. I would still show up, get my weight training in, go through my pregame practice as if I was going to play, and just continue with my process. And I learned a lot just through that, learn how to let the ego die. I had to just let it all go. But yeah, I don't really have any regrets. Not today. When they won, I was sick. You know, I was sick for like 4 or 5 days. Like no lie, like damn, like I really could have. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I don't really play this game for accolades and championships. Like I think the lessons that I've gotten from the game has made my my experience, you know, grander. But yeah, it was tough watching the boys jump out 18-0. I'm just feeling the vibes. We over here, we got all this promise, bro.
Yeah.
We had all this experience, man.
It made sense. It made like
your intent was right,
bro.
Yeah, no, it made perfect sense. Like when I was looking at it, and then it happened because I was covering the Warriors at that time. I was just like, wow, like who would have knew?
Right.
Who would have knew? It was
because KCP had just left.
Yep.
I'm like perfect, like you know, similar mode. Like I could go right into that spot and pick up like we.
You just came off shooting like 40% from
exactly,
three.
Exactly. See, the thing was though, between the teams, you know, the ball moved in Golden State, so the shots made sense.
Yeah.
You know, once we got, you know, the Lakers, it stuck a little bit more, and I never forget we had one of my old trainers came to the game. He timed my time in between shots, like real time, 37 minutes.
That's
real
tough.
time
That's
between,
tough.
And you know, they want you to shoot 40%.
But
you know, but like you gotta like, I mean, you see guys shooting at a high clip now. You see like a Peyton Pritchard, like he getting shot attempts. Like if you want to be a good 3-point shooter in this team in this league, like you have to have the reps. Like that's why you see guys taking, you know, primary ball handlers taking anywhere between 6 to 10 3-point shots a game, and they shooting them at a good clip because you know that's reps. But if you're going, you know, one shot, and then you doing this, you chasing people off screens, you take the ball out of bounds, you don't even know what it feel like no more. And then, you know, when you get it.
So what you're saying is you didn't know where your shot was coming from.
Right, exactly.
So I guess the roles weren't as defined as it was with Golden State.
Bingo.
And that's part of like NBA teams and separates the good ones from the bad ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly.
And locally, I think that's a lot of what's been happening with Keegan Murray because he knew where his shots were coming from.
Yeah.
And then you bring in DeMar and the whole offense.
Not to blame DeMar.
No.
It's just how it happened, right? Like to you, that's just how things happen, and that's how it fell in place.
Well, maybe I am blaming DeMar. No, not blaming DeMar at all. I'm just saying. Yeah, he knew where his shots were coming from, and now, I mean, he's in the corner. He's running to the other corner, like
because he's asked to play one.
Right
now, he's asked to guard 1 through 4, and he's doing a good job, right? And by the time he exerts all his energy covering up so much ground, which you can attest to, by the time you get an open shot, you're tired.
You know, no rhythm,
and there's no rhythm or timing.
Yep, no rhythm. You know, and the game's played so fast, so the passes aren't. You know, like it's so much that goes into being a shooter that people want, and Keegan can shoot the crap out of the ball. We saw that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the ball doesn't have that synergy and the timing isn't right, because I mean, I just remember with Golden State, like you know, you'd be moving, and you know, you were just so in rhythm.
Yep.
Feet pop, boom, and go up. That's a big difference when it comes to shot making, knowing where your shots are gonna come 100%. From. That's how you score, you know, where your shots are going to come from.
Yeah, and before Keegan got hurt, I think he'd run the most miles in the league. So,
well, that makes sense.
And Mark and I talk about it, like we'd watch him and he'd be like, he
was conditioning
to corner. He was like running a box,
set a screen.
He would literally just corner to corner.
Grab a rebound.
Well, his responsibility was a lot.
Yeah, well, it's insane. And then
you're not going to shoot a high percentage. It's just like, you know, when you're working out, when you're training. You know, you if you're just taking shots, you can knock down 10 shots straight.
No question. Yeah.
But if you're sprinting from corner to corner, you know, it's going to drop, and that's kind of what happened.
That's what happened to me at Lifetime with Kent.
No,
that's why you blew by me.
That's out of shape.
I'm just out of shape.
I mean, it's crazy too because you know he definitely Keegan probably definitely has hopes on. You know, building on last season, and then you come in, it's like it's totally different. And then your coach get fired. Like we gotta understand, like these are. I mean, that's a lot on the mental. You know, as a young player, you trying to solidify yourself in the league. You go from, you know, having all this promise early on to, you know, a somewhat tough year, and you know you're part of the blame as a young player. Can really, damper your spirits a little bit. But I mean, he's a really grounded kid, good family background. So I'm sure he's gonna steady himself and find his way. It's just things that come along your journey. It's not always gonna be as picture perfect as we think. It's gonna be a bone thrown in there. It's about how you respond, though. How you gonna find a way in all of this. How can you ramp it up? Grow your game a little bit. Try to hit the offensive glass or something to get a few extra ones. That's how I would be in his ear right now.
Right.
If I was his teammate, like it's still in you. You just got to get back to it.
Now you played with and against everybody. Now playing with Steph and Draymond and Clay and Clay was hurt that year.
Yeah, Clay was
hurt that year. But playing with those guys and like you talked about the synergy and how everything works so smoothly. What Steph specifically? What was the one thing, which I'm sure you could name a bunch, that it was just like, what made him different? Obviously, we know he could shoot, but what that we don't see makes Steph the player he is?
Oh yeah, that is a loaded question.
Yeah. So I threw that on there.
It's all good. I just think it's his willingness to give. Like, the energy he puts in the energy he shoots at the ball. Is the energy that's in the ball to every teammate.
Yes.
That he pours into his guys in that realm. Like, good shot. You always see him interacting with his teammates in his goofy little ways sometimes. But it's just willingness to share his light. He's making shots. He's the all-time NBA 3-point shooter. And when I play, I felt like we used to shoot at the same, our shooting times at the same time. So just to see the ball constantly go through the net, while we're training with him, like, it's for me, I'm like, shoot, I'm lining it up too. Like, I'm shooting, backpedaling away from the basket. Like, I mean, a lot of that is definitely a lot of his confidence that he he plays with, ooze into my game, just some of the days. Even before the season I played with them, we were down. We were at this little local high school just training. We work out with the team at 11:30 to like 2, and then we go train from like 8 to like 10:30 at night, and we just getting up shots. And we're in this high school gym, and we working out, and it's a high school 3-point line, so you don't really understand how far off the line you're shooting. And I mean, we at 35, 40 feet just letting them ride. And that's kind of what he gives to his guys. He gives you that belief. When you see him do it, you understand that it's possible, and you see the work that he put in. It's just like, all right, I can do it too.
So we doing buy or sell, or did you not think of anything? Or I'll go first if you got stuff. But
for me, this
for
is always the
me,
most
I don't know.
difficult
I
thing.
still kind of want to ask him more about like his life and like what's next, really. Like more about what's next for you. Obviously, people, I don't know, they see NBA players as like superhumans, but at the same time, you guys are regular humans with problems like everybody else.
Yes, sir.
Like what's next for you, bro?
Man, it's right now I'm just taking a day at a time. Like I went through some dramatic transitions and changes in life to create some space to, find out what's next. It's definitely gonna be something around the game of basketball. I think my journey and what I've learned and who I played with. Like I had this guy do a career highlight tape, and I've thrown lobs at Dwight. I've thrown pocket passes to Paul Gasol.
so cool.
Like, I forgot this clip, but Kobe was on the left block. I was with Golden State as a rookie. He spent baseline, and I blocked his shit.
Did you really?
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
I forgot about that, but yeah, like it's
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was, and just right now, I'm just literally in a space of gratitude for what the game has done to me, and just like Steph passes that joy to people, I do the same. Because I still love the game. I still love playing. There's plenty of basketball out there to play.
Right.
You got stuff like the TBT, Big Three. I'm not sure if how this stuff will align, but There's so many things out there to do, so many games out there to play. You know, different countries you can visit to go play.
The big three would be
experience
dope for
game.
you. The big
What's
three,
that?
you'd be ground big three.
Oh yeah.
Shoot, man, I'm in shape, bro.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of being in shape, and you're not signed to a team. That's what we'll say. You're not signed to a team currently or whatever. That to me, that speaks to your love of the game. You don't have a reason to be in shape.
Exactly.
And you see a lot of guys, like, soon as they're not even
let it go.
Yeah, and they
Shit,
start
there's guys
looking
in
like
the league
me.
right now that aren't in shape. What are you talking about? I like don't love the game like that.
Hey,
And that's one of the main things I see in players, like you say, currently or retired or just, as a free agent. That shows your love for the game if you're still in shape, if you still pick up a ball every day and not looking like me.
right. Well, I mean, it goes even deeper than that. You know, the focus and discipline to walk in the purpose that I have is to take care of myself. You know, how can I lead and empower if I'm not, doing it myself? So I'm a big firm believer in like practicing what you preach.
Yeah.
And the love for the game is just an added bonus. Fuel of the fire. To me, it's my outlet to go and be my creative self because, the game was once a place where you could totally be yourself. But I got 12 technicals in one season from 12 different referees. It's like, anytime you would, want to, I was going through, everybody has their stuff that they go through in life. And the court was supposed to be your safe haven, to release all of that. But when you couldn't do that, that box got tighter and tighter. Those walls got a little tighter. The shackles got a little tighter. Like
You had 12 technicals in one season?
in one season.
When was that?
I was in Atlanta. It was 18. It was.
I didn't
it
know
was
you were like that.
17. Well, I mean, it's,
yeah.
I'm a very I mean, this is how I am.
Yeah.
But I'm a very passionate player because
Right.
when it comes to the game, the preparation, all the sacrifices that I made, all the sacrifices that people made for me to get to, where I am. Like when I play with all of that and just wanting to win. Like I want to win, and we were bottom of the East that year, Trae Young's rookie year, and dudes would come in smelling like Henny and Patron,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean, and just because they were winning, we at the bottom, like they get the benefit of the doubt, and I just couldn't. I love the game.
100%.
I love the fairness of the game. I think that the cream of the crop rise to the top. If everything was called fairly, then things would even out as they should. But when it's they trying to take away, like we've been practicing all week trying to get ready to win this game, and like I'm gonna protect my guys in that right, and that's what a lot of that was for sure.
How much did you pay in fines, Zaire?
I ain't even count, bro. They said it was going to a charity, so I guess that charity got a couple new. So they got a lot of new something.
I got a question for you, and hopefully my camera doesn't shut off. But I'm maybe you didn't, but Jimmy Butler suspended 7 games by the Heat for his comments about basically requesting a trade in a press conference.
Oh wow!
Suspended 7 games,
wild.
but also fined over $3.5 million by the organization. Pat Riley's not
He
playing,
ain't playing.
and
Sheesh.
so I'm curious, like,
I've never
do you
seen
think
nothing like it.
that's a precedent that you're okay with in the league, that players speaking out in a press conference about not being happy in their situation, and then the ability to get suspended 7 games and fined $3.5 million? You think that's fair? It's like $500K a game.
But like he said, he
was
finds
bizarre.
no joy in playing basketball anymore, which
That's
I
what
think
I'm
is
saying.
it's super important to like know.
Right.
Yeah, you there's a way to communicate and be heard. And I like I say, I don't follow much of this stuff, so this is the most in depth I've heard. But I feel like as a man and as men, like we need to sit down and talk these things out because no one's gonna win if you get into this ego war, a tug of war, you could really end up doing something that could damage, one of the other's lives. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, if you don't really want to play that much, I mean, it's okay. But there are, if you do certain things, there are repercussions behind it. So I mean, that's just as long as he stands behind it, then he can live with it. Then that's then good for him. But I mean, it's a lot going on in the league, man, and these systems have to be rewired a bit to maintain the longevity. Like we're talking about the best league in the world, and people ain't watching it. So I mean, these it's gonna be a lot more of this stuff that come like Mike Brown, Jimmy Butler. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of other stuff that teams are covering up just to try to stay out of the way.
For sure.
Yeah, we got to clean it up.
Baze, man, like we talked about the other day or whatever, especially when you was at Golden State. I'm sure probably throughout your whole career, you were always a guy that's, you're even keel, never too high, never too low. Where does that come from? Is that from, family? I know obviously it's from experience, but where does that come from, that energy and that, to have that type of,
Yeah. I worked hard to find a conscious. I took a class for almost a little less than 2 years on conscious leadership, and my teacher Lisa, we would always talk about essence pacing, and that's something that you could. I've now found a pace at which I can live and sustain. I'm looking at longevity now. I'm not necessarily chasing anything anymore, but I'm also being assertive and and walking with conviction and understanding where I'm headed. So with that comes peace. The joy and the traumas of your past life, and then the joys and the traumas that'll come in the future brings you peace, right? So that's just where I'm at, and it took a lot to get to this place. And it's like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the book, Man's Search for Meaning. But, it's stories like that that kind of give me, just the poise that, at the end of the day, regardless of what happens, everything's going to work out. And it's so easy it sounds cliche and it sounds like airy, but it's real. It's the simple things that we tend to overlook. We always look for the grandiose messages and things to bring us peace, but it's those little quotes like that just kind of keep you grounded and keep your mind clear and keep your perspective at a, you can't be too far zoomed out. You can't be too in it either. You gotta, and that fluctuates. So it's all about waking up, being open-minded and being agile in life.
Positive. It's a great outlook.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just listened to my priest, Father Mike Schmitz, talk about the power of saying yes, right? Like when you say yes and you start, even in life, like her wife says, go wash the dishes. It's supposed to be like, no, like that's your job. Like, oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that just changes your outlook on things, like how Virgin Mary said yes to God to have Jesus. Like that's the ultimate sacrifice. When you love someone, the yes is, it's just crazy. It's like start tweaking how you think things like, what if I say yes to that,
No,
it goes back to like just being positive.
It changes a lot. It changes a lot. Like, in your shoes or whatever, a lot of people, fans specifically, they don't see you as human. They don't see you as a person.
Right.
You're Kent Bazemore, the NBA player. You made millions of dollars or whatever. And like, how difficult is it managing, staying a real person opposed to Kent Bazemore, the NBA player, especially with social media blowing up the way it did during your career?
Well, you can't really forget where you come from, number one. And then two, like, I wasn't promised any of it. I had to work for all of it. Like, there was a point in time, I was on a 2-year non-guaranteed deal with Golden State. So when January 10th rolled around, that was a guarantee date. So around Christmas, I couldn't sleep. It's like, all right, am I gonna be here? I've been in those spaces to where I've had to be real with myself, like, and ask myself those tough questions and go in and do the work. Right. So it's I don't really carry that aura either of like, I'm above anybody. I see everybody as equals. We started from, ground zero and we all building something. That's why when you come in contact with someone, I'm trying to uplift everybody, right? Like we all going together. So that's just been my mentality, and I always remind people, I pay my taxes and I work extremely hard. I go make my own groceries too. Like I cook my own food. Like I like staying grounded in that aspect. You know, I do yard work. I
love that.
You know, I clean up, I mop my floor. You know, I just try to I do what I can to just keep myself grounded. And I think it's good that, I mean, I appreciate you guys recognizing that, because character is something that I stand on.
Yeah.
My mom taught me that at a very early age. You know, character is something that can get you a lot of places. And I feel like my character is what took me from being ranked 499 out of 500 players my rookie season to playing 10 years in the NBA was my character. It wasn't because I wasn't really special at, you know, anything. I developed my game. I became a 40% three-point shooter. I became a secondary ball handler, you know, just by learning how to make a read on the backside DHO. I became a good defender just by understanding what we're trying to do that night as a team, and our principles. So all this is just work, man. It's you know, my hands and my feet, my knees, my low back feel all the journey. You know what I mean? So that's what I lived through.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy you just said that. Cause my boy Jimmy texted me. He's like, yeah, I actually played against him in the SF Pro AM, and I remember when the NBA voted him like 400 or something, and Under Armour put that number in your shoe tongue as motivation.
Yeah.
So that's just awesome to like hear that.
Yeah, it's just I'm blessed and privileged, man, to have lived the life that I have. Like it's if I was laying on my bed back in Kelford, North Carolina as a 8-year-old, like looking up at the ceiling, like, man, like if somebody would have told me I would have done all this, like play, you know, been in the locker room with Kobe and LeBron and Steph and all y'all would looked at them like they were crazy. What? You see where I'm at right now? Like there's no way, but just character and you know, working and taking everything seriously. Like, you know, if I wasn't a good student, you know, I was honor roll. I got principal list a few times in elementary school. Like, you know, I treat everything the same. Whatever space I'm in, I'm giving that to it. I'm not just gonna put in the extra work in basketball practice and then not care about my grades, because that's if you don't care about your grades, then you ain't gonna touch the line in practice, or you ain't gonna get into the body to fight off the screen. You know, there's so many little things that if you don't fill in those voids in your life, that it's gonna affect you in the long run.
60-win season with the Atlanta Hawks. Was that the closest to you felt to winning a championship in your career?
Like NBA career?
In your NBA career, yeah.
Yeah. Just because we had so many selfless guys. Like we had 4 All-Stars that year. And I would start with them, and I'd be the leading scorer. Like it's kind of Al Horford. I mean, people undervalue.
He's so good, bro.
Oh my God. Well, I'm not gonna say people undervalue. I don't think they still don't give him enough credit, bro, with his leadership. And I tell the story a lot. For him to, if you win 2 back-to-back NCAA titles, bro, that is
tough.
That's so tough. You know, one, to have the humility to come back and want to do it again. Says a lot about him, but he just led in such an amazing way, like just vocally on the court. You know, we would play Uno. We would play Uno as a team that year. Just so many good. Then Paul Millsap, selfless guy, freaking animal. We had Damari Carroll, and then you know Jeff Teague, like you know those guys, Kyle Korver, like they were just, you know, seasoned guys. Then on the bench, it was Dennis Schroeder, then me, Shelvin Mack, Mike Scott, you know, Pero Antich. Like it was just we had Elton Brand. It was
it's a stacked team, man.
Yeah, bro. It was such a good group of like men. You know, Damari Carroll was such a good vet for people like myself. You know, just learning the game, learning the way. Paul Millsap teaching me how to take care of my body. Al just teaching me how to be a leader on the court, you know, lead by example.
Was a Jeff Teague as chatty as he is on his podcast?
Jeff Teague's one of the greatest storytellers.
Oh, my God.
He's so good.
His pod's great. I love his pod. Shout out 100%. Jeff Teague's pod.
Hilarious.
But yeah, it's a blend of just people understanding who they are and just having great character men. You know, I feel like the NBA is a man's game. You know, 82 games is tough on the body. You got all these responsibilities. I feel like that's what's missing. Yeah, it's that piece.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this has been an absolutely fantastic episode. Jeremiah Solomon, Leah Biaz, Mark Haynes, and our guest, Kent Bazemore. Baze, I just appreciate you coming on, my guy.
Sure.
I'm excited personally to see whatever you're going to be doing next. Like, just the journey and everything that you're going to be doing next. I'm excited to see. And, yeah, we really appreciate you coming on the pod, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Yes, sir. Glad we made it happen.
Thanks so much.
man.
So let's do buy or sell.
You want to do buy or sell?
Try it out.
All right, I'll go first.
I'll go first because my camera's about to die. So
Yeah, you go first.
buy or sell. Yeah, I'm buying California on the buy or sell today. I was just thinking about this. Like, you got that soccer camp that's happening, and you know, like the weather, and we woke up to a basically sunny day today. So I mean, I'm buying California. I've been a lot of places across the world, across the states. There's nothing like California, man. And like, it's got its problems. It's not perfect. We have a high income tax. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
Baze knows.
Yeah, Baze knows on a level I could never comprehend. But you know, I'm buying California, and that's what I'm going to buy today. Buying California. It's a great place.
I'm buying playing with Baze at Lifetime.
When he cooked you,
I thought that was a pretty cool moment for me, playing with the pro player. Hopefully there's more of that. I'm me for this year as my goals. I want to lose my 20 pounds and get back to my playing weight, which again, it's hard. Like when I'm going up and down.
Buy and sell.
He like motivates me. I'm like, damn, like he's older than me and like he's in great fucking shape, and I'm like, I can be in great. It's just a matter of wanting to, eating better, and just being more strict on what I eat and just more careful. So
that's like the whole 3 in the paint. Like that's like a 3 in the paint resolution, right? All of us gonna lose 20 pounds.
Right? I literally went home and I was like, man, I ain't shot a ball in a year and a half, and I was like, man, I need to get back in the gym. I could have been hooping with Baze today, but
and then when like y'all left, I'm like, fuck, I just wanted to keep playing because I just love the game. Like, I watch film. I come from the X and O side as well. Like I can literally break it down and just one day I want to coach as well, and I think it's gonna start with my son. He's 2 years old.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna wait for him and you know just bring him up slowly. Teach him the fundamentals of the game and
that's great.
Teach him how to cut, how to play defense first, and go from there.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm buying, even though he done hopped out the room, he wanted me to give him a shout out. My son Nehemiah,
sir,
who was been a big help for me, even though he's on crutches today. He's been a big help today, helped me get here on time. Yeah. And he thinks he's good at Fortnite or whatever. I'm not sure yet, but
I think he is, bro. Nehemiah the GOAT, man.
He might be. He's gonna be talking all kind of crap later or whatever, but I'm buying my son and you know, being the only Haynes boy in my family. Yeah, take that, Chris, because he got all them girls. But I'm buying my. Well, I bought him a PlayStation already, but I'm buying him.
There you go.
Today, you
That's a good
can't buy people.
You got anything, Kent? Or
I'm buying love this year in 2025.
Yeah,
like,
there we go.
Let's spread love. Let's uplift each other, man. Let's pour into each other, and let's all be in a space to receive, because we've all have our own journeys. We've all learned things, and you know, I'm sure we can see something in see ourselves in someone else, and you know, just pour into people. You know, hug somebody, speak to your cash person checking you out, check on them. And, spread love this year.
I love that. Well, that's a great way to end it. This has been the 3 in the Paint podcast. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Go follow Kent Bazemore on Instagram at Kenny Baze, I believe. And check out everything he's doing. And we'll see you next time.